It's time for Making Sales Social Live, coming to you from the Social Sales Link virtual studios. I'm Bob Woods. Dan Robinson is off today, but Bryn Tillman is here. How you doing?
I'm great, my friend. How are you?
I am doing well, doing well. Thank you very much. So, believe it or not, there's a lot of actions we as salespeople can take on LinkedIn that aren't directly related to sales, but those actions can lead to sales. One of those is finding your centers of influence, the people or companies that are not rather your direct competitors, but who your clients are buying from, and then obviously you can cooperatively use those centers of influence so that everyone benefits. Bryn, this is where networking in my mind anyway really hits the road. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, there's so many ways that we're going to talk about how to leverage these centers of influence. One of them, as you're talking about in the networking world, is recognize that a lot of these folks are selling to the same customer, but are not competitors. In fact, you may actually really uh, benefit each other, or what you do may lead to them, or what they do may lead to you. And having those relationships can make all the difference in the world. There are a few things I'm going to say before we get into like the tactical piece. Number one, pick them wisely. Just because they sell to the same uh, client doesn't mean that they're going to be the ideal referral partner or center of influence for you. There are absolutely people that we work great with when it comes to center of influence, when it comes to people that we can refer back and forth. But if we have someone reach out that owns a LinkedIn automation tool, and that is what they are selling, although you may think, okay, well, they're selling to the same people we want, they have a different ethos, a different perspective. And so I need to be as comfortable introducing that influencer or center of influence as I need or want them to be in introducing us. So you have to make sure that the partners you pick really have a very clear ethos, a clear philosophy on business, and that you're not contradicting one another, but you're actually elevating the value that you bring. High tide rises all boats.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so you do kind of have to keep an eye on exactly who you want these relationships with, because there just might not be that mesh that someone from the outside might think, "Oh my god, this is perfect." And they're like, "Yeah, but it's not." And then you can also let them know why that it's not a fit, so that they
Mm,
not only know about that when it comes to thinking about people for you in the future, but you're also educating them about what it is that you do. So that's also a potential educational moment for them as well.
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah, yeah. So before we get into the tactics, we do want to let you know that we have an ebook that is related to today's topic. So if you go to socialsaleslink.com/COI, again, that's socialsaleslink.com/COI, and that's just like one word. There's no dashes or anything between that. Socialsaleslink.com/COI. You will have an ebook that has everything that we are talking about in that today, so that you don't have to be taking notes. You could just download that and have everything right in front of you. So there are two areas that you should really be concentrating on to find those centers of influence, COI, on LinkedIn. Number one is going to be your direct connections. And the first way that you can do this is to create, make an inventory of your connections. So, who are you connected to that you've been unintentionally ignoring? And we all have those people out there like that. You look through a list and you're like, oh my God, I haven't reached out to this person for years or whatever. I should really get in touch with that person. That's someone who you've been unintentionally ignoring. It's time to fire up that relationship. So go to your list of connections that you can download directly from LinkedIn. LinkedIn makes it easy for you. And then filter them specifically by profession or industry. And that's just a great way to have everything in front of you in an Excel spreadsheet right in front of you. You don't even need to be on LinkedIn once you download that. And you could just start going through that and really determining, who have you been ignoring, who might be that COI type of partner for you.
So clarification on this, which I love because you said industry, and I love searching by industry, but that's actually a search in LinkedIn. So
Yeah,
when
right.
you're exporting your LinkedIn connections, you're getting first name, last name. There is an email column, not a ton of emails because you have to opt in for that.
Yeah.
You get the company name, their title, and the date you connected. We often recommend that you create a column in the left-hand side and categorize it CPR, which is client prospect, or referral partner. The center of influence would probably fall under that referral partner. You can also search in the free LinkedIn. When you go up to the search bar, hit enter and all filters, and you're looking at people. Now you can break it down by industry and location. So absolutely great insights there.
Yeah, and that takes care of the second part, which was actually checking those first degree connections by using LinkedIn search to do that. And there, besides just industry, there are so many different ways, even in the free LinkedIn, that you can use to help you really zero in on who you're looking for. It's just amazing. And then if you have Sales Navigator, that's just where it gets to be mind blowing in terms of the people who you can filter. But even in the free LinkedIn, that's not even LinkedIn Premium, just free LinkedIn. There are some powerful tools and filters there that you can use to help you out to find those good people in your centers of influence that you can then work with.
Love it. Love it.
And then the other main area is going to be just simply asking your current clients. So, to really fill that centers of influence COI, engage with your present or past clients who obviously have good experience with your service and ask them about the other vendors who provide a specific service to them. Once you get introduced, the potential networking partner won't ignore you because you share the same client. So that's already a common point of interest rather that can really help you get into the door a little bit more. And because that's a trusted conversation, trusted connection, and that's a trusted connection of theirs as well, there should be a really good point of interest there that you can both build on. Also, you can feel good referring them because they come from a high level of credibility from your clients if you refer them to someone else. And then they will also be much more comfortable referring you for that exact same reason.
So I absolutely love this. And here's how it might sound. Bob, I'm so glad we've been able to help you do X, Y, and Z. I'm really looking to do some networking, and I'm curious, who did you use for sales training? And you say, oh, pick someone. Who did you use? Anyone. Okay. I'm sorry. We should have role played this first because that was really for you to answer, but that's
Oh,
okay.
that's okay. Sorry about that.
So yeah, who did you use for sales training? You go, Colleen Stanley. She was amazing. Yeah, I would absolutely love to meet with her. As I network, there might be people I could refer into her, and there might be people that she might be able to refer back and forth. So if you are comfortable, I'd love to get an introduction. Now I'm going to say who are my clients connected to that I want to meet. So the first one for me is sales trainers. The next one is who's your marketing company, the company that you're using for your website, for your branding. Someone else that I might want to meet might be the CRM sales rep, right? So there are people that are clearly selling into the people I want to have conversations with that might be able to refer me, but I can refer back. So the conversation goes back to, I'm going to start. So Bob, what CRM are you using? Just say
HubSpot.
Okay. So HubSpot, I'm curious, who is your salesperson? And you tell me, and I go, do you enjoy working with her? Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's great, because I'm really looking to network with these folks. And also, if my other clients should ask, I'd love to be able to introduce them into my other clients, right? That's number one. So that's fabulous. Now, what if he says, you know what, I really am not a big fan of my CRM. It's just clunky and it's not working, and I'm interested. And I'll say, oh, one of my other clients is using HubSpot and they really love their sales rep. I'm curious if you'd like an introduction, because they're really finding great success with that. And they're like, oh, great. So now I'm either going to meet someone new that they love to work with, that can become a new referral partner for me. Or if they're unhappy, I can make an introduction from someone else that's a COI, center of influence, in my world.
Yep, that's very, very powerful. So that finishes that first bucket about your own direct connections. The other thing that you can do is build relationships with thought leaders on LinkedIn's, because as we all know, not all influencers in your industry are attracting the clients you want to reach. So you can search influencers. You can actually look at some of the people who you're connected to who are in the area that you're interested in as well, and find out who they are following in terms of influencers, because that's indicated right on their profile. You can also use a website called listennotes.com. So this is like a podcast search engine, among many other things. It's a great tool, but you can use Listen Notes to find that specific podcast topic your ideal clients would be listening to. And by the way, also ask your clients, what podcasts are they listening to? And that can help you out as well. Once you know who influences your ideal clients, you can then find them on LinkedIn and engage with them appropriately. So here's where the magic comes in, though. Don't stop with directly engaging with the influencers. You can also respond to and engage with the people commenting on their posts to not only build relationships with those people, but you also get the influencer's attention as well.
So, and I'm going to yes and that. So now that
Yeah.
we've got those commenters and we've gotten to Listen Notes and we've pulled out a podcast or two from that influencer, this is a great way to start a conversation with those commenters.
Yep.
So what does that look like? Bob, I noticed that you're engaging on Colleen Stanley's post. I think she's great. Recently came across a podcast where she talked about EQ in sales. I'm curious, if you're interested, let's connect and I'd be happy to send you a link. And
Yeah.
so now we are talking about that influencer. We are having a conversation about something that has nothing to do with what I'm selling. I'm starting a trust-based conversation around what matters to them, which in this case would be an influencer. I look at that influencer like the keynote, and all the commenters are participants that have come to watch or listen to this keynote. And so, of course, we're going to talk about that keynote and the conversations around that. It will eventually lead to very good conversations and potentially to your content or to your solution or to building a different kind of referral partner. But what we're doing is we are starting that first conversation. And that's what we look at this. This is a networking opportunity. We don't want you to jump in and say, hey, I see you follow Colleen Stanley and I'm going to try to sell you something. It
Right.
doesn't work that way, right? We want to go in, we want to give more information from Colleen Stanley. And then I might say, hey, I don't know if you follow or if you're interested in sales process, but Liz Hyman has some great content. Who else do you follow? Eventually, I might say, I'm not sure if you're exploring LinkedIn and social selling content, but we have a new ebook on X, Y, and Z. Let me know if you're interested. I'm happy to send that over. So eventually, if you're having the right rapport building conversations, they will be interested in your topic. But this is what we call lead to your solution, not with your solution. When we start with our stuff, they see it as a pitch, even if we truly believe it's insights and value. If we're sending a link to our stuff, they're seeing it as a pitch. But if
Right.
we are sending them content from an influencer that they follow and that we have in common, all of a sudden we're building a strong rapport building conversation that will lead to our stuff if the time is right, when the time is
Lead to your solution, not with your solution. Seems like I've heard that before, once or
right. Yeah,
twice.
I think we talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a little bit. So before we wrap things up, there's one other really short thing that can be very powerful. And I have actually done this before and it works. So you find a group of business allies that you can join or be a member of that you can potentially refer business back and forth with. So this actually goes beyond like a BNI type of group, although obviously BNI can work well as well. If you're all focusing on, let's say, restaurants, for example, and restaurant business owners, now that's going to be more specific than a BNI group, but yet you have all types of people who potentially will reach to that type of audience. And that's everyone from like people who sell supplies, people who sell furniture, people who provide IT services, but they're all focusing on one really specific niche. I've seen these types of groups work very well, and you just have to kind of determine what is a really good niche for you and also who you know or who they may know who can help you with that. So, that type of really specific networking group can help you out just tremendously.
I love that tip. That's great.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
let's bring this baby in for a landing.
Let's bring it in for a landing. Control tower, clear us a runway. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Making Sales Social Live. If you're with us live on LinkedIn, YouTube, or other social networks right now, we do this every week. So keep an eye out for our live sessions. If you're listening to us on our podcast, therefore it's recorded, and you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe or follow button to access all of our previous shows and be alerted when new ones drop. And if it's got like that star type of thing, you definitely want to click on that as well so you're notified immediately. If you'd like more information about our podcast, go to socialsaleslink.com/podcast. We do 2 of these shows weekly. We do this one and then our Making Sales Social interview series where we talk with leaders and experts in sales, marketing, business, and lots of other areas that we sincerely hope you are interested in. So, when you are out and about this week and every week, be sure that you're making your sales
Social. Hey, I did it all
every
by
week.
myself. All
Yeah.
right. Bye.